Have you ever looked up at the stars and wondered about our place in the universe? Sometimes we don't have to look so far. We can look back in time, to a civilization that rose from the desert sands more than 5,000 years ago. This was ancient Egypt. A place of mystery, of immense power, and of ideas that have traveled through millennia to reach us today. It is a story written not just in books, but in stone, in gold, and in the very land itself. The questions they asked about life, death, and the cosmos are questions we still ask. Their world was very different from ours, yet their human spirit feels strangely familiar, a distant echo of our own curiosity. This ancient kingdom continues to capture our imagination like few others. Why? Perhaps it is the sheer scale of their ambition. They built monuments that seem to defy the laws of physics, even by modern standards. They created a complex society with laws, religion, and a deep understanding of the world around them. Their story is one of innovation and tradition, of powerful rulers and ordinary people living their lives along the banks of a great river. Exploring ancient Egypt is like opening a time capsule, a message in a bottle from a world that has long vanished yet somehow still feels very much alive. It challenges our understanding of what is possible. The allure of ancient Egypt is woven from many threads. There are the tales of powerful pharaohs who were seen as living gods on earth commanding vast armies and unimaginable wealth. There are the enigmatic pyramids, silent stone mountains that hold secrets we are still trying to unlock. Then there is the intricate system of beliefs that guided every aspect of their lives, from the rising of the sun to the journey into the afterlife. It was a world where science, magic, and religion were not separate things but different parts of a single grand truth, a truth they sought to understand with all their heart and mind. So, let us begin a journey not across space but through time. We will travel back to the land of the pharaohs, to walk in the shadow of the great pyramids and sail upon the life-giving waters of the Nile. We will try to understand the people who built this incredible world. What did they believe? How did they live? And what secrets did they leave behind for us to discover? The sands of Egypt have many stories to tell. All we need to do is listen carefully to their ancient silent whispers, and perhaps we will find some answers about them and even about ourselves. Imagine a structure so vast it can be seen from space. A man-made mountain of stone, built with astonishing precision. These are the pyramids of Egypt. They are not just buildings, they are monuments to an idea. The idea of eternal life. The Great Pyramid of Giza, for example, was built for the pharaoh Khufu. It stood as the tallest man-made structure on Earth for nearly 4,000 years. It was constructed from more than 2 million stone blocks, some weighing as much as an elephant. How did they do it, with only simple tools and human strength? This question continues to baffle engineers and historians, a true testament to their genius. These pyramids were much more than just impressive feats of engineering. They were sacred machines designed to guide the spirit of the pharaoh into the afterlife. The Egyptians believed that their rulers were divine beings, gods who walked among mortals. When a pharaoh died, his journey was not over. It was just beginning. The pyramid was his launching point into the heavens, a stairway to the stars where he would join the other gods. The shape itself was significant, perhaps representing the rays of the sun god, Ra, shining down upon the earth, creating a permanent ramp for the king's soul to ascend. At the heart of this civilization was the pharaoh. He was more than a king, he was the center of the Egyptian universe. He was the chief priest, the commander of the army, and the ultimate judge. The people believed that the pharaoh maintained the divine order of balance and justice in the world. As long as the pharaoh was strong, the Nile would flood, the crops would grow, and the kingdom would be safe from its enemies. Rulers like Tutankhamun, though he died young, became famous because his tomb was found almost untouched, filled with dazzling treasures that give us a glimpse into the incredible wealth and power of these god-kings. The legacy of these rulers is written in stone across the land. From the towering statues of Ramesses the Great to the elegant temples built by Hatshepsut, the female pharaoh who ruled as a man. Each pharaoh sought to leave a mark to ensure their name would be remembered for eternity. They commissioned vast building projects, waged wars, and sponsored art that told the story of their divine reign. Their role was absolute, their power immense. They were the bridge between the gods and humanity, and the pyramids were the ultimate expression of their journey from this world to the next. While pharaohs and pyramids command our attention, The true story of ancient Egypt belongs to its two most important characters, the River Nile and the ordinary people who lived beside it. Egypt is a desert, a vast expanse of sand and rock. But cutting through this arid land is a ribbon of life, the Nile. Without this river there would be no pyramids, no pharaohs, no Egypt. The ancient Greek historian Herodotus famously called Egypt the gift of the Nile, and he was right. The river provided everything: water for drinking, fish for eating, and a watery highway for travel and trade. It was the source of all life. Every year, like clockwork, the Nile would flood its banks. This was not a disaster, it was a blessing. When the floodwaters receded, they left behind a thick layer of rich, black silt. This fertile soil was perfect for farming. Ordinary Egyptians, the farmers who made up the majority of the population, would then plant their crops of wheat and barley. Their entire calendar was based on the river's 3 seasons: the inundation, the flood, the growing season, and the harvest. The rhythm of the Nile was the rhythm of their lives, a predictable cycle of death and rebirth that shaped their entire worldview. So, what was daily life like for an average Egyptian? It was a life of hard work, guided by the sun and the seasons. Most people lived in simple homes made of mud bricks, often with flat roofs where they could sleep during hot nights. A farmer's day started at dawn, working in the fields with simple tools like wooden plows pulled by oxen. Their diet was simple but healthy, consisting mainly of bread, beer, onions, and fish from the Nile. Beer was a staple for everyone, including children, as it was more nutritious and safer to drink than plain river water. Beyond the farm, society was filled with skilled craftspeople. There were stonemasons who cut the blocks for the temples, carpenters who built boats and furniture, and scribes who were the highly respected keepers of records. Family was at the center of society, and children were seen as a great blessing. Though their lives were very different from the pharaohs, these ordinary people were the backbone of the civilization. It was their labor that grew the food, their skill that built the monuments, and their families that passed down the traditions for thousands of years, all thanks to the predictable, life-giving pulse of the mighty Nile. The spiritual world of the ancient Egyptians was as rich and complex as the Nile Delta itself. They worshipped a vast pantheon of gods and goddesses who controlled every aspect of the natural world and human existence. There was Ra, the powerful sun god who sailed across the sky each day in his boat. There was Osiris, the god of the afterlife, and Isis, his wife, a powerful magician and the ideal mother. Anubis, with the head of a jackal, guided the souls of the dead through the underworld. These were not distant, abstract figures. They were active participants in daily life, and people built great temples to honor them and seek their favor. How do we know so much about their beliefs? The answer is written on the walls of their tombs and temples in a beautiful and mysterious script called hieroglyphics. For centuries, these sacred carvings were a complete puzzle. But the discovery of the Rosetta Stone in 1799 changed everything. It contained the same text written in 3 scripts: hieroglyphics, a simpler Egyptian script, and ancient Greek. This incredible key allowed us to finally unlock the language of the pharaohs. Hieroglyphics were more than just letters, they were art. Each symbol could represent a sound, an object, or an entire idea, creating a rich and layered form of communication. This artistic spirit was visible everywhere. Egyptian art is famous for its distinctive style. Look at any tomb painting and you will see people drawn in a specific way, the head in profile, but the eye and shoulders shown from the front. This was not because they couldn't draw realistically, it was a choice. They wanted to show each part of the body from its most recognizable angle, to capture the complete essence of a person for eternity. Their art was not just for decoration, it was functional. Statues were created to provide a home for a person's spirit, and paintings of food were meant to magically nourish the deceased in the afterlife. Even today, thousands of years later, the wonder of ancient Egypt endures. We are still uncovering new tombs in the Valley of the Kings, still deciphering ancient texts, and still marveling at the ingenuity of the pyramid builders. They have left us a legacy that continues to inspire and mystify. Their story reminds us that even in the distant past, humans were driven by the same powerful forces that drive us today, the desire to understand our world, to create something that will last, and to find our place in the grand expanse of time. Ancient Egypt is not just history, it is a timeless lesson in human ambition and the enduring quest for immortality.